Morning. You know the deal here. We're gonna take some questions for you.
Great.
We'll start with James Crepea, the Oregonian.
Kelly, some big picture questions first before we get to this week. Emmert said that the women's tournament, the consideration is single site San Antonio. Your thoughts on that, but also between just the backdrop of everything, Kelly, what Krzyzewski has said this week, what everybody else seems to be weighing in on, and the Pac-12 and dealing with its football, your thoughts of just at the end of this, that there is going to be integrity at the end of this, whatever this ends up being in March, that there's going to be something to be playing for, and people are going to have records that they can stand on, and if it's single site and all that.
A lot to unpack there, James. First and foremost, we're just blessed to see another day together. Okay, we've kind of taken that approach. Let's just get through today, and which is great. In the bigger picture, in terms of the single site, I really honestly have no opinion. Whatever we're going to be able to make work. If that guarantees that it's going to work, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. That seems like an awful lot of people in one area. But if they feel that's I'm assuming they've done their homework on this. Coach K, obviously when he speaks, people listen. I read his comments. I think early on he was advocating for a post-January 1st start. So it's not like he's changed his tune. I've heard some people or seen people on Twitter, would he be saying the same thing if he was 4-0 instead of 2-2? But yeah, Coach K is a man of integrity. So he's been saying that all along. Hey, listen, I don't know if anybody still knows, man. We're blessed to see today. And that's all we can worry about. We've turned our attention to Sunday's game. And each day we're praying and hoping that next game is going to be played. So that's where I'm at, big guy. I didn't mean to duck the question, but
Julian Minnesota,
buddy.
Julian at KZI.
Kelly, do you think the fact that there won't be fans on top of you guys at Gill Coliseum will help, especially some of the younger players in this game on Sunday? And what kind of conversations have you had with some of the freshmen in particular about this game, considering Pac-12 seems to go through either you or them?
Yeah, the last 6 years, one or the other of us have won the Pac-12 regular season championship. I don't think a lot of people nationally would know that. So actually, we've had two really good programs up here. Yeah, it's a shame. We had two sellouts last year. My guess is we had sellouts in the years prior too. But 22,000 fans or so, maybe even more. I don't know between the two. I'm not sure there's a better rivalry in the country right now. Two really good teams. We're so close in proximity and great fan bases. Will it help? I don't know. Some people feed off the energy, even in an opposing building. Sabrina was like that. She liked going into hostile territory, so to speak, and she had great games, and she was into quieting the crowd, shutting them up. With a lot of young kids, maybe that would have been a lot to ask, but it's just so weird this year with the fans. They put that background noise in. You guys have noticed it at our place. I don't get it. I don't even know why we keep it on. It's more annoying than helpful in any way. So thanks for the question, Julian.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Oregon State's result against Utah was probably a little bit, I don't want to say surprising, maybe unexpected. When you after you guys played, I know Utah was the first game against you guys, but when you see the results come across, you feel like you have to address that with your team of like, this Oregon State team is not necessarily a team that lost to Utah. They're a really talented team that has higher aspirations, and this rivalry is always really, really close, right?
Yeah, we've already discussed it. You can't compare scores. This game stands by itself. Listen, they're going to be fired up. In fact, it actually could help them. They're going to play with a little bit more desperation, knowing they can't lose another game at home. I wouldn't think. So they're going to be really focused, and we just got our kids. We got to make sure that they understand. Listen, you can't look at and compare scores. We just got to do the best we can do. I feel good about my teams if we just play well, but you start getting into that business. Say, well, they beat them, and then they beat them, and then they beat them. You're going to end up losing to yourself at some point.
Ryan Thorburn, register guard.
That probably made no sense.
Kelly, your last trip to Corvallis, it seems like 5 years ago, but obviously it was in January and it was quite an emotional scene there. How did that day and that event kind of change the tight-knit? I mean, you already had a tight-knit team, but it seems like Sedona was talking about it earlier this year, what that meant to her. Just how has it changed your team and your, I guess, the rivalry, Aaliyah Goodman and all them out there together with your team? Just how did that day kind of change this series and your team?
Well, certainly one of the 4 or 5 most memorable games in my tenure, not just tenure here, in my college career. It was incredible, the amount of love and focus that was generated by our team in support of Sabrina. Obviously the Kobe moment, being on the road in a place we hadn't won. It was a perfect storm, and we played so well that night and got the win. It's something I'll remember forever, and it's, I think, a memory that was kind of chronicled in a tweet that we put out a couple of weeks ago. The Everglow kind of led to really our push and our excellent play down the stretch last year. I think it was the impetus in that the team chemistry and the way we finished the season. I truly do. That's why I tell everybody I didn't see anybody beating us, and that was I think the moment that really brought us together. So probably better off talking to some of the kids about that.
Kim Doss, the next.
Kelly, when you were putting this team together and you were going to bring Taylor in, what did you see from her, both on basketball and intangibles, that was so important for this team, and how she kind of lived up to that? What can she do more of? That sort of thing.
I'm assuming you're talking Taylor Mikesell?
Yes.
Yeah. She's a perfect fit for us, really. Shoots the ball so well. We haven't been able to get her enough shots. And we continue to try and find ways to do that. But I always say, it's all part of the same puzzle. If they're hugging her and they don't leave her, that means there's a lot of open court for Pow Pow and for Boley and for our inside people to do their work. So it all fits together. She's, even on those nights she doesn't get a lot of looks, she's helping the team. She's got to continue to get better defensively. And then I have to do a better job of just kind of getting her more involved at times in the offense. But she's, like I said, a perfect fit. You couldn't have asked for a better situation for both of us. I think we're perfect for her as well. And once she gets it rolling, that's the beauty of her, man. She can rack up 3-4 baskets in a short period of time. And when it gets rolling, man, it's pretty fun to watch. But I like her personally. She's a gym rat. She's in here every single morning getting shots up. Reminds me a lot of one Sabrina Ionescu, who came through this program. They have similar makeups.
Hayden Herrera, NBC 16.
Kelly, I'm not the only one from Northwest Arkansas in these parts now with Sasha Goforth up in Corvallis. She seems to have transitioned to the college game pretty well. What makes her such a headache?
Yeah, she's a good player. Well, she's athletic and long, first of all. So she's going to be a matchup headache for whoever we have to put on her. Just attacks the basket so well, gets to the line a lot. I love her length defensively. She's perfect for how they play. They played some zone and man, and she's good in either. She's going to be a really good player for them. Already is, but, she's got even a lot of upside too. So she's going to be, I think, that next great wing that they've had over the years, from Pivick to Weiss, even though I guess she was more of a point, but she was a long, long guard. So
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Kelly, update on Sedona's ankle. How has she looked in practice? Is she practicing? What's going on?
She has not practiced yet, so we hope to get her back today. We'll see. That's still going to be a question mark for the weekend. Kid. But she's doing what she's supposed to be doing off the court and getting it rehabbed and doing those kind of things.
Ryan Thorburn, registered guard.
Kelly, it seems like Oregon State always has pretty good bigs, and with Corsdale and Jones, it looks like they're developing that again. How do you see that matchup with or without Sedona?
Well, obviously with Sedona, it helps because, you know, she can match her in length, and that actually is even taller. You know, Taylor Jones is – I noticed some teams have been playing behind her, making her prove it. We've, you know, gone with more of a basic defense, and she's had good nights against us and not so good nights. She's just tough to guard. You know, she's very skilled and works hard, and I don't think anybody in the country keeps the ball high. Man, you talk to your posts every day about keep the ball high, keep the ball high, keep the ball high. She actually does it and does it really well. You know, again, they got the two-headed monster, so to speak. The Mitrovic kid inside has done well for him too. So it's going to be a formidable matchup. But I like what Niara's done defensively on the interior, and then Sedona can give us that length as well. So, and Lydia, of course, has been through the wars with these guys a couple of times. So we can match them in length. We just got to keep her off the block, man. Can't get too deep on us.
Back to James Creppy of the Oregonian.
Kelly, just for clarity on Sedona, I'm assuming it's not grade 3 since she was able to get back on the court so quickly, even if she's not practicing. But is it grade 1 or is it grade 2?
I don't know. I don't know in grades. I never got very good grades, James. So I couldn't tell you. She's doing what she can. She's just like, all I can say is she hasn't practiced. But I was told that day when she got hurt that she could go in, and so I just put her in, but it didn't last long.
Got time for a couple more here, Coach. Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Coach, you've been playing 10, 11, 12, 13 players so far. Are we going to expect to see that against Oregon State? Is that going to be based upon the way the game is going, or you enter that game intending to continue to play all your players that are available?
Yeah, see all of the above. I think we'll play, you know, a deep bench again. I just don't know in what order and for how long. But again, I think I've made that clear. I think at least through Christmas, we're going to try everybody out and see what's working best, and we'll go from there. So I anticipate, everybody.
And Ryan Thorburn, the registered guard.
Kelly, obviously you don't have to worry about the crowd, but with 9 newcomers and 5 freshmen, is there anything you need to do to prepare them for the rivalry aspect of this game, or do they just need to experience it?
Well, we've already talked about it a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of returners that can really speak to the, you know, I wouldn't say animosity. I'd say respect one program for another. Mark Campbell, I think, you know, we usually put the onus on him because he worked for both. He knows how they feel about us and, you know, and what the rivalry really means. So, you know, we'll lean on him a little bit. When I first got here, you guys, listen, I didn't buy into it. I was, hey, it's just another game. And then when they rolled us by a lot of points, you know, early, it became more and more important. Now I'm playing it as if it's a, you know, obviously a rivalry game and really, really important, high intensity. And it's going to be a good game, man. It's going to be a really good game. He's got another nice team up there. They had a tough outing the other night. We maybe caught Utah on a good night. They were a little rusty. It was their first game. So, again, you know, we talked about the scores. You can't compare them. I anticipate a really tough, hard-nosed game. 2 good teams, man. We should be really feel fortunate in this state to have 2 great women's basketball teams like this. It just doesn't happen in very many states, and it's got to be among the best rivalries, if not the best, in college women's basketball. I think it's the Duke, North Carolina of the women's game.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay,
good luck
you guys.
this weekend.
See ya.